Throughout history, many strange and inexplicable events have occurred. Such events have always attracted people's interest and have been the subject of research and writings by many conspiracy theorists. Despite years of research, the mystery of some events has not been solved. In this video, I will discuss an intriguing event whose mystery remains unsolved to this day. Let's examine together this incident in Brazil, known as the lead masks. Welcome to my channel called The Discovery of Mystery, where we will unveil the curtains of secrets. The lead masks case occurred in 1966 in the city of Niteroi, Brazil. Niteroi is located just east of Brazil's famous city, Rio de Janeiro. Today, Niteroi has developed and transformed into a commercial center, but in the 1960s, it was an underdeveloped city struggling with poverty. It was during those years that one of the strangest and most mysterious events in Brazilian history took place. On August 20th, 1966, a young boy went to Vintem Hill in Niteroi to fly his kite. After a while, the boy noticed something in the grass on the hill that he couldn't quite understand. This object, which looked very strange from a distance, piqued the boy's curiosity. The boy wanted to get a closer look at this thing. However, as he approached, he saw that this thing was actually the lifeless bodies of two men in suits. Frightened by what he saw, the boy immediately returned home. He first told his family about the situation, and then the police. Unfortunately, by the time the incident was reported to the police, it was already evening. Due to insufficient light sources and difficult terrain conditions, the police could only go to the scene the next day. The next day, a few police officers and a firefighter went to Vintem Hill and began to examine the surroundings. During the examination, the police encountered a rather strange scene. What they saw were the lifeless bodies of two men lying on the ground, as if they were resting. There were no signs of struggle or violence at the scene. The men had an unusual expression of a smile on their faces. Both men were wearing suits and raincoats. Next to them was an empty water bottle and a package containing two wet towels. However, the most peculiar thing was that both men had a lead mask over his eyes. These lead masks appeared to have been hastily cut, giving them a disturbing appearance. This is why the incident is known as the lead masks case. The men had a few valuable items and approximately $1,000 in cash on them. The absence of any signs of violence or struggle, along with the untouched valuable items and money, was reducing the likelihood that this was a murder. The police examining the scene found a series of receipts, a list of numerical codes, and a notebook containing strange instructions in the pockets of the two bodies. There was a list of electronic materials and components on the first page of the notebook. The second page contained instructions similar to this. After lunch on Sunday, take one tablet. On Monday mornings, take one tablet on an empty stomach. After lunch on Tuesday, take one tablet. Before going to bed on Wednesday, take one tablet. The third page was even more peculiar. It had instructions written like this: be at the specified location by 16:30. Ingest the capsules by 18:30. Protect the metals after the effect. Await a signal from the mask. The police were quite astonished by what they read, as they had no idea whatsoever about what they were dealing with. The bodies were swiftly removed from the scene and sent to the Forensic Institute for autopsy. However, the forensic officials were occupied with other cases at the time, causing a delay in the examination of the bodies for several weeks. As a result, the internal organs of the two men decayed to the extent that it became impossible to determine precisely how they died. The police, who conducted an investigation into the case for a while, learned that the two men who died were two electronics technicians living in Campos dos Goitacazes, a small town 430 kilometers northeast of the city. These technicians were identified as Manuel da Cruz and Miguel Viana. But why had these men traveled to this hill, is so far from their homes? What was the reason they wore lead masks over their faces? In fact, these oddities were just the beginning. As investigations into the incident deepened, even stranger information would begin to emerge. Police initiated an investigation to understand why Cruz and Viana had come to this hill. Witnesses began to emerge in the city center claiming to have seen the pair. According to information obtained, these two men had traveled by bus from Campos to Niteroi on August 17th. Some witnesses claimed the men carried enough money to purchase a used car. Police confirmed this information through a search of banks, discovering that the duo had withdrawn a large sum of money in one go. Subsequently, information from eyewitnesses revealed that the duo had purchased raincoats from a store. These raincoats were found on them at the time their bodies were discovered. Why did these two men want to buy raincoats on a hot summer day? What were they expecting at Vintem Hill that made them feel the need to wear these raincoats? The incident had indeed taken on a mysterious twist. The duo later visited a bar. A waiter who saw them at the bar said both men appeared quite nervous. He added in particular that Viana kept checking his watch and looked around with a tense expression. The duo was last seen sitting in the back seat of a moving jeep. After that moment, no one reported seeing them alive. Police believed the duo headed towards Vintem Hill with the jeep they were last seen with, but they couldn't locate any eyewitnesses who knew what happened there. Based on their identities, the police initiated an investigation in hometown of the duo. It was learned that both men were married. They had told their spouses they needed to go to São Paulo to buy equipment and a car, but mysteriously ended up in Niteroi instead of São Paulo. When police reached out to their spouses, they were confronted with a startling truth. According to the information provided by their spouses, the duo was conducting studies on communicating with aliens and spirits. They had organized several communication sessions with aliens and spirits. They had even built a device for this purpose, and had used it several times in the backyard of Cruz's house. Additionally, both men were members of a group called Spiritual Scientists. Did their reason for coming to Vintem Hill, miles away from home, have something to do with this? Did this device play a role in their aspirations to communicate with spirits? Both men's wives couldn't provide a clear answer to this question, but it was likely. Most likely, the device was made for a mysterious purpose, and the duo had come to Vintem Hill for this mysterious purpose. It has been approximately 60 years since the incident. Police still cannot understand why this duo left their homes, spouses, and jobs to come to a place 430 kilometers away, and whom they met here. Additionally, what was written in the notebook found with the duo still remains a mystery. Many conspiracy theories have been generated about this incident. In this section, I will discuss some of the conspiracy theories that have been produced. First theory: the duo managed to communicate with aliens. For this purpose, they came to Vintem Hill. According to this theory, the duo were not ordinary electronics technicians, and had indeed managed to establish contact with aliens. The information written in their notebooks was instructions they received from aliens. The lead masks were to protect them from the radiation and rays of a spaceship that was supposed to arrive for them on the hill. According to the theory, after the duo followed these instructions and arrived at Vintem Hill, with the help of aliens, their physical bodies were terminated, and their consciousness was transferred to an extraterrestrial environment or an avatar. Thus, while their physical bodies on Earth ceased to exist, the duo embarked on a new life in space. Although this conspiracy theory sounds incredible, investigations indicate that the duo truly believed in such a possibility. Second theory: the duo thought they communicated with aliens. In fact, the individuals they communicated with were not aliens. According to this theory, the duo attempted to communicate with aliens through their device. They did manage to establish communication with someone, and believed they were communicating with aliens. However, the individuals they communicated with were not extraterrestrial beings. Rather, they were malicious humans. These malicious individuals somehow convinced the duo that they were communicating with aliens and directed them with instructions. The tablets written in the notebook were meant to poison the duo. The lead masks were meant to prevent them from seeing what was happening around them. The duo fell into this trap and were poisoned. The goal was to seize the large sum of money they had withdrawn from the bank. The fact that an autopsy was not conducted is indeed intriguing. If an autopsy had determined the cause of death of the duo, perhaps this mystery could have been solved more easily. Due to negligence of officials, the organs decayed excessively, preventing an autopsy. This negligence raises suspicions that the police might be involved and trying to cover up the incident. However, unfortunately, no evidence supporting this theory has been found. Third theory: the duo was killed by a member or members of the group called Spiritual Scientists they joined. According to this theory, the duo had joined a group called Spiritual Scientists upon the recommendation of a friend. In fact, One of the duo's spouses claimed that the idea of communicating with aliens and spirits was planted in the duo's minds by these friends. In this way, someone convinced the duo that communication with aliens was possible and then directed them with instructions. Subsequently, they were directed to Vintem Hill, and they were killed for money they had withdrawn from the bank. Unfortunately, no evidence supporting this theory has been found. All of the conspiracy theories generated about this mysterious incident are indeed intriguing. However, making a definitive judgment is challenging. What do you think happened to this duo? Please share your thoughts in the comments. When we look at the incident as a whole, some truly bizarre and mysterious details stand out. However, we can say that the most important reason for this mystery remaining unsolved was the serious negligence of the police during the autopsy process. Regardless of the circumstances, the most crucial element capable of solving such a bizarre event would have been the autopsy process. The neglect leading to the omission of this autopsy is definitely unacceptable. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and stay tuned. You can support my channel by liking the videos and leaving comments. Until we meet again.